Welcome back to Welcome back to Jacobism, lovely people. You know we only deal in bangers, and today is no different. I'm going to share with you how to do the gym. Over the last few years, my relationship with the gym, beginning in a haphazard and tumultuous fashion, soon spiraled into unrequited addiction. And now it's gotten to the point where not only do I have to sometimes write on my to-do lists, don't go to the gym, but the thought of not going one day is incredibly boring and excruciating. If you wish to become a juicy striated horse, then you are going to need the correct mindset, a specific goal, an understanding of nutrition, an idea of supplementation, a proper plan with knowledge of form, and last but not least, some golden tidbits up your sleeve to make it all the more effective. Let's get into it, people. So first things first, as Eric Bugenhagen says, it's all about the mindset. And in order to achieve your goals and be committed to the gym, you need to get up here right. You see, when some people join the gym, it is usually the result of, I hope, a healthy amount of self-reflected dissatisfaction. They look in the mirror and they don't like what they see. However, this is a trap. Those that are spurred into action from the sight of their jiggly belly or spaghetti-like arms start the gym with quite fickle goals. They want to get a six-pack for summer or a voluptuous rump for MAGA. And the problem with this approach is that it is goal-centric with a time restraint. You see, you might be consistent and good for a few months, but as soon as you have that donut or take that day off, the whole campaign derails. In order to be sure of lasting success and consistency and avoiding the yo-yoing of gym attendance, your goal needs to be not goal, but process orientated. That will look something like saying, I wish to be a healthier person. This mantra will influence all your actions and can ensure against the potential deviating effects of a dozen original glazed or a weekend of cocktails and gay bars. When you say, I wish to be a healthier person, this sets a truly healthy foundation in your mind to ensure lasting committed success at the gym. The other realization that you will need to come to is that discipline, not motivation, will be the guarantor of your success. If I based my attendance on motivation and emotion, I would never go. I would much rather sit at home, watch World War I movies and drink full-fat Coke. But I know that that is not conducive of a healthy person nor a successful individual, so I don't. Discipline in the achievement and commitment to your mantras and goals will be the ultimate determinant in whether you succeed or not. I can assure you it's hard at first, but no one who has walked out of the gym having previously felt like not going has walked out with regret. A process-oriented campaign governed by discipline will ensure the best likelihood that you will be consistently committed to the gym life, bro. And now it's time for point 2, where we're going to talk about goals. Whether it's the lackadaisical gym goer who you see hop from one machine to the next, or that individual you see being scammed by a personal trainer, people often fail to understand what they need to do to achieve their particular goal. A particular goal is often centered around looking a certain way and achieved either by gaining muscle or losing fat or both. Of course, there's some people who don't care how they look and solely care for adding plates to the bar and ultimately their strength. For the sake of not getting too technical, we are going to solely address those that are motivated by aesthetic reasons and not purely strength. Whenever somebody is motivated by aesthetics, they say, I want to look like Brad Pitt out of Fight Club. The reality is that most people cannot, from a physiological perspective, look like Brad Pitt out of Fight Club. In my case, I'm an endomorph and am quite broad set. I store fat far too well and build muscle quite easily. Therefore, I will never be able to look like Brad Pitt, even if you sent my Jewish ass to 1940s Poland. The trick is, learn what your body type is and play the cards you were dealt accordingly. If you're new to the gym, The general premise of building muscle is you want to do 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps. This is the hypertrophy rep range. Hypertrophy means the enlargement of organs or tissues through an increase in cell size. Bodybuilding. Bodybuilding often gets a bad rep because it's associated with the gear-taking meatheads of Ronnie Coleman and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can assure you, just because you've started doing bicep curls, you aren't going to look like a bodybuilder anytime soon. On the flip side of this is losing fat. You'd be surprised if you're the bloke goat or a bit of a tubby bastard. Under that timber, you'll likely have a developed back, strong quads, and juicy calves, but you just can't see it. Therefore, if this is your first venture into losing fat, I'd advise you do a daily HIIT workout. I lost a lot of weight doing T25, a high intensity interval training regime over the course of 15 weeks. However, some people do advise, probably correctly, that lifting weights is more efficient at burning calories and you're building muscle in the meanwhile. And so in summary, the point is to understand what your goal is, your body type, and adopting the correct approach for whatever is best suited for you. And now it's time for the third point, which is arguably the most important of them all, nutrition. I often say to people, depending on whether you want to lose fat or build muscle, if you're not going to do the nutrition, don't even bother. And I'll explain why. If you want to build muscle, but CBA with getting adequate protein, then your muscles, without the proper fuel, will respond well to the new stimulus for about 3 months or so. But after that, your growth will stagnate, you will get frustrated and likely give up. Conversely, if you wish to lose fat, you can maybe push yourself hard in a HIIT workout and perhaps burn 400 calories. I know from experience, if not solely from looking at it, I can consume 3,000 plus calories in minutes, whether that's in cakes or donuts or Domino's, fizzy drinks and sugar. Therefore, if you're not going to consume the appropriate nutrition for your respective goal, don't even bother. There are better ways to spend your time. However, if you are going to, this is what I recommend. If you're trying to build muscle, you want to consume between 1.6 and 2 grams of protein per kilogram of lean mass. Your lean mass is your total mass subtracting your fat mass. For example, I know that I weigh 92 kilograms, but my lean mass is 74 kilograms. Therefore, I do 74 times 1.8 to know how much protein to consume per day. If you wish to find out your body composition, don't go on one of those bullshit machines at the gym because they're inaccurate. I do something called a DEXA scan, which is a basic MRI and tells me my lean mass, fat mass, bone density, and some other cool metrics. They're very useful to know if you're consistent at the gym, how your body composition is changing throughout time. Now, if your goal is to lose fat, then as I am sure you're aware, the premise is less calories in than calories out. However, it's a bit more nuanced. If your deficit is too great, you'll be lethargic and likely cave into your impulse to eat. When you do, you'll be so hungry that you'll likely overeat and go into a calorie surplus. Also, the more stress that you put on your body as a result of not eating will raise estrogen levels in your body and promote fat storage. As such, your deficit needs to be around 10% of your caloric maintenance. I know a lot of people struggle with reaching a calorie surplus, but I believe that really comes down to your mindset and ultimately how bad you want to become a juicy, striated horse. And now it's time for point 4, where we're going to look at supplementation. There are really 3 main ones to consider: pre-workout, creatine monohydrate, and protein. Now, I've never taken pre-workout apart from caffeine in my coffee, so I don't really have any real authority to talk about this. But if you need something to amp you up for the gym, I think you need to go rewatch the mindset section again. In terms of creatine monohydrate, this was good for me. I can't say that I saw any noticeable improvement in my performance or the promotion of lean mass, but I was definitely a bit more juicy. And protein, following on from our previous nutrition point, is useful if you struggle to get your adequate protein per kilogram in. However, I found getting my protein from exclusively meat sources to not only be very beneficial for my overall health, but thoroughly enjoyable because I'm a horrendous and barbaric carnivore. What I will advise is that if you're new to the gym, don't bother with any of these supplements. Get started with an old tee, some shorts, and some beaten up trainers. Nothing more, and please, nothing less. And now it's time for point 5, which is a proper plan. If you want to commit to a professional level, why do 3 or 4 days? Do 5/6 days if you want some serious results. If you're trying to build muscle, there's 2 meta approaches to take. The first is the bro split, where on an individual day you will train a specific muscle group like chest or arms. And then you have push-pull legs, where you will train muscles that are relevant to pushing motions or pulling motions or legs. They both have their merits and drawbacks, but generally I prefer the bro split over push-pull legs because, say on pull day on back, you have your teres major minor, your rhomboids major and minor, your traps. There's 3 heads to the lats. You have your lower back and your center back and even perhaps your rear delts. And on top of that, you have to train delts and biceps when you're doing pull. It's just too much. So when I do the bro split on my back specific day, I can target all of those individual muscles. As stated before, you want to do 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps for no more than 5 exercises, ideally 4 in a singular session. You want to start with your big and heavy compound movements like squats and deadlifts or bench presses on their respective days. Further to this, you want to include some calisthenic movements, also compound movements, such as pull-ups, push-ups and dips for ideally strength building. If your sole aim is to exclusively lose fat, then you don't want to overstress your body with long cardio sessions like long runs. If you do want to lose fat, you want to do shorter, more intense, more effective cardio-based, ideally HIIT workouts about 5 or 6 times a week. And now it's time for our last and 6th point, which is golden tidbits. My first golden tidbit is form, and I cannot stress its importance. You will build muscle in a suboptimal fashion if your form is not very good, as well as causing serious risk to your body. This is not a working out channel, nor am I the best person for it. So I recommend you go check out the YouTube channels of Eugene Teo, Davis Diley, Jeff Nippard, or even bodybuilding.com to get the best advice regarding form. If you're worried, start off light. My next golden tidbit is light weights make big muscles. There can be an obsession when you're in the gym to be chasing PRs, but there are 2 problems with this. The first one is that people often forget that hypertrophy is based around isolating muscles. I got to a point where I could hip thrust 100 kilos, but I was engaging my quads, my calves, my arms, my back, and I could barely feel it in my arse. So then one day I dropped it to 50 kilograms and I got a fucking wicked contraction, and I woke up the next day with some serious fucking DOMs. The second problem with going heavy all the time is the risk of injury. It is always wise to regularly pull back instead of attempting and expecting to hit PRs. Though I'm not weight training right now, when I would do a light week and then a heavy week. My last golden tidbit is to keep it simple and traditional. The tried and tested exercises of squat and bench press have stuck around for a reason, because they're effective. Don't fall victim to the convoluted speed or contortionist exercises. They're mostly fluff. Spend half a year keeping it simple, build some serious tissue, and once you have an idea of what you're doing, then you can venture out and try some new things. And now it is time to end, lovely people. This, I hope, has been a definitive guide on how to do the gym and ultimately become a juicy striated horse. Something that I didn't include but is incredibly important is rest. When you exercise, whether that be losing fat or building muscle, you are stressing your body, your muscles, and tearing the fibers. And if you never let them repair, they can't effectively grow. All our health journeys are different, but whatever it is, there is a scientific methodology to the madness, and I strongly advise you follow that. Some top gym bangers are Push It to the Limit, Beat It by Michael Jackson, and of course, ESTG will never let you down. Thank you all for watching. I wish you the best on your journeys. And if you want bragging rights for being one of the first subscribers before I get cancelled, then you know what to do.